Meeting to order, and we will go ahead and get started. We have several appointments to make, then we will go into a discussion on bill limits. We will begin with the Aging Services in the Commonwealth Committee. I'm sorry, call and roll, please. Thank you, ma'am. So we will begin with the Aging Services in the Commonwealth Resources Work Group. There's one senator vacancy, and this is a new work group as a consequence of Budget Item 283. Senator Mason is the patron of the budget amendment and requests to be appointed to this committee.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded that Senator Mason be appointed to this work group. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Okay, so Senator Mason is appointed to that work group. We will now move to the Conflict of Interest and Ethics Advisory Council. There's one citizen vacancy. The Honorable Wilford Taylor is eligible, but he's unable to continue to serve. And so Judge Trumbo is eligible to serve on this council and would do so once we ask him.
I would recommend him too, because he's a good guy.
Judge Trumbo.
Oh, yes.
So, and this would prevent us from having to come back to do this committee, so, this one appointment. So if we could get a motion to provisionally do this appointment.
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded that we appoint Judge Trumbo, providing that he agrees to do so. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, so that is done. We now move to the Pandemic Response and Preparedness Joint Subcommittee. We have two citizen vacancies, one being a local elected official representing an urban locality. Senator Surville recommends Aaron Rouse of Virginia Beach for this local elected official. It's been moved and seconded that Aaron Rouse be appointed to this joint subcommittee. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So Aaron Rouse will be the local elected representative. Then we have a representative from the K-12 public education system. We have Caitlin Deal of Hampton, a teacher at Phoebus High School, Mary Catherine Gregory of Potomac Falls, and Karen Corbett Sanders of Alexandria.
That we nominate Caitlin Deal to the
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we recommend Caitlin Deal of Hampton as the representative from the K-12 public education system. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? For the School Readiness Committee, we have 3 Senate vacancies. We have Senator Hashmi has requested to be appointed, and I would like to volunteer 2 other people from Education and Health.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
can I ask that we consider adding Senator Favola to that list with Senator Hotchme, since we have 3 vacancies, or do you have others in mind?
These are people from Education and Health.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, I withdraw that.
And so, again, I would like to recommend Senators Newman and Lewis
and Hashmi.
and Hashmi.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Don't be so happy, Steve. Okay. All in favor of Senators Hashmi, Newman, and Lewis, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, we will now move to Virginia Tribes, the Committee on Updating the Law, Virginia law to reflect federal recognition of Virginia Tribes. Committee, we appointed 2 people back in April. That was Senators Cosgrove and Marston. That left 2 senator appointments. Senator McDougal has requested to be appointed, and then I'd also like to recommend Senator Peake.
Okay.
I'll move both of those.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded that we appoint Senators McDougal and Peake. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, we also have 1 citizen recommendation, and that's Catherine Porter of Carsville.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded that Catherine Porter of Carsville be appointed as a citizen appointee. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? So that ends our appointments. Next on the agenda is a discussion on bill limits. We sent out a poll regarding bill drafting and introduction of limits, and there were three considerations sent for you. One had to do with no more than 40 drafting requests for bills and resolutions. Only 25 bills may be introduced and only 8 after pre-filing. And one person indicated that they wanted that particular recommendation. The second was no more than 35 drafting requests for bills and resolutions. Only 20 bills may be introduced. Only 6 may be introduced after pre-filing. 20 total commending memorial resolutions may be introduced per member. This is not included in the 30 drafting requests. 3 people indicated that that was their preference, with 2 people saying that was their secondary request. The third was no more than 30 drafting requests for bills, resolutions. Only 20 bills may be introduced. Only 6 may be introduced after pre-filing. A total of 20 commending and memorial resolutions per member, and this also is not included in bill drafting requests. 6 people indicated that that was their preference. We received 13 responses from members of the committee. 2 people had other suggestions. Senator Newman specified he wanted fewer drafts. Senator Norman indicated only 20 drafted, 15 introduced, and none after pre-filing. Senator.
Move for option 3.
Madam Chair?
Senator Eben.
The comments from Senator McPike on the poll thing about...
I was getting to Senator McPike's comments.
Okay.
Senator McPike indicated that he felt that that he did not think these proposals addressed number 2 adequately. He was interested in more thought that may be more productive in this meeting versus trying to lay it out by email. To better address DLS workload, it may be more productive to propose limits on draft requests based on dates. For example, 20 before Labor Day to Election Day, 15 Election Day to pre-file, 8 post-pre-file, 6, or some variation of the above.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I think there's a lot of merit in that proposal, but it's probably something we need to take up in the spring rather than now at a post-Labor Day date.
Right.
We could still modify it and have something like with Election Day as a partial deadline, only a certain number after.
Madam Chair,
Senator Edwards. Oh, Senator Edwards said no bill limit.
Madam Chair, I'd like to speak to that briefly. I have a different view of all this. We don't just represent ourselves, we represent citizens in our district and statewide as well. And the idea of having limits kind of runs contrary to the whole concept, in my opinion, of being down here. Now, I understand we have limitations with the staff and time. We're only here for certain times, 60 days and 46 days and so forth. But the concept still strikes me as a wrong concept. Now, I know we had in 2020 and 2021, there are a lot of backlog because first time the Democrats are in charge of both the House and the Senate, and so there are a lot of bills that were never passed in the previous 20 years. And so there's a huge backlog because of that. And in 2020, we had a special session, George Floyd thing, the police reform. We spent a whole lot of time doing that from August to November. In 2021, we had the judges. I can't tell you how much time we spent on judges. There 80 people applied to be on the Court of Appeals. About 40 or so were recommended as qualified. And I can't tell you how much time I and those of us on the committees spent on the judgeship thing, so that took a huge amount of time. In 2022, however, I like to say our good bills got killed by the House and their bad bills got killed by us, so to speak. So we didn't have as many bills, and I think this coming year, with the House being one side of the aisle and the Senate being another side of the aisle, we're unlikely to have as many bills. But again, the whole concept, I think, runs contrary to the idea of democracy and representative government, just the concept itself.
Thank you, Senator Edward. Further comments?
Madam Chair.
Senator Howell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think we have to be realistic about this. We do represent the whole Commonwealth, but we're also here either 45 or 60 days. I was in the very uncomfortable position last session when we had to do 70 bills in one meeting in Senate Finance. That is unfair to everybody, absolutely everybody, including the members of the committee. It seems to me that we are going to have to put limits. I think it's going to work well with finance, this proposal with me as chair, because I don't put in any bills other than the ones I'm required to by the code. But a future chair may want to, and probably will want to. So I think we need to be careful when we do this that we don't set it as a precedent for future General Assemblies. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Senator Newman.
Madam Chair, I was just going to second Senator Saslaw's motion on item number 3. And the reason for that is that some of us have been around long enough to remember when when Dickie Cranwell entered 105 bills and the limits were off, and it was just, it was unworkable. Committees were drowned. And so I guess I'm just seconding Senator Saslaw's motion.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to move, it's been moved and seconded that we adopt option number 3 so we can discuss that motion. Senator Favola.
When is the pre-filing date under option 3?
Pre-file is already started.
No, it says, well, only 6 may be introduced after pre-filing date. I guess, let me rephrase my question. When would the last possible time be for the 6th? First day of the session. First day of the session, okay.
Madam Chair,
Senator Deeds.
would this limit apply to bill requests that have already been made? For example, if a certain senator we all know and love has already requested 40 bills, are we going to ex post facto limit that?
That's a good question.
Madam Chair, the letter that went out advised members to hold their drafting request.
But that really didn't have the force of law, Madam Clerk.
It came from me.
As I said, that didn't have the force of law.
Senator Saslaw.
Which is the 40 he really liked.
On option 3, I'd remind everybody that you get 30 drafting requests. If all of us did that in the Senate, that's 1,200. Okay? 1,200 requests. You can submit 20 bills. That's 800. 800. And then you get 20 commending and memorial resolutions, another 800. I mean, if that isn't enough to take care of the situations in the Commonwealth, I don't know what will. And I'll remind everybody, because of the amount of years I've been here, when I first got elected, the Code of Virginia was this long. It's now almost 4 times that. But let me tell you this, we're not 4 times a better state as a result. And everybody in this room knows it. And, you need at some point in time to say to your constituents, no. Just like, I'm sure you've all said that to your local governments. I know I have, okay? So quite frankly, I think that option number 3 is way more than adequate. Way more.
Madam Chair.
I'm sure.
Senator Deeds and.
Madam Chair,
and
I
Senator
would just
Edwards.
say in response to Senator Sasslaw that some of us have more than one board of supervisors to answer to. We represent lots of localities. I represent 11 localities right myself. Am I to say you only get one apiece from that locality or two apiece? I mean, that's not fair.
No, sure it is.
So you and everybody else that represents Fairfax County can carry all the bills from that jurisdiction. I'm not opposed to some limitation, but I would ask that you consider excluding from this, from limitation, bill requests that come from commissions and like the Joint Commission on Healthcare or
That
the
is
Behavioral
excluded.
Health Commission.
That is excluded.
Okay.
That is excluded. So study bills.
No, not if you are required
So
to
Madam Chair.
carry something for like the Code Commission.
Okay, so
Or-
if you're, okay. Otherwise, regular study bills that you just put in as a lawmaker that didn't come out of a recommendation from a study committee would count in that 20.
Madam Chair.
I
Madam
I
Chair.
don't think that that's correct, Barbara, but,
Please clarify if that is not.
for example, John, are you still chair of Code Commission?
Yes.
Like, as the chair of the Code Commission, there are some things that come out of the Code Commission that's required. That would not count.
Right.
But if you're making the request yourself. it would be-
Madam Chair, my point was, that is correct. Thank you for the clarification. But my follow-up point was if an individual puts in a study bill that does not come out of the commission, that study bill counts against the 20 bills, as I read this.
Yeah.
That was the point. Okay.
Madam Chair.
Senator Edwards.
In response to the senior senator from Fairfax, when he was elected, along with Thomas Jefferson, back in the 70s, Virginia had about 4 million people. It's now 8.6 million. And it's got more complex as well. And the other thing is, not everybody's going to have the max and do that multiplication. I mean, a lot of people are not going to put many bills anyway, so I don't think the fact that we don't have a limit is going to mean everybody's going to put in a zillion bills. That's not going to happen.
Madam Chair.
Senator Sasslaw.
I would remind Senator Edwards that damn near all of that growth has come from Northern Virginia, and we've gone from about 5 or 6 senators to 12, or 11 or 12, and delegates from about 8 or 9 to about 16 or 17. So that population growth was more than taken care of through redistricting.
I need some clarification on this one, Madam Clerk. It says only 20 bills may be introduced and 6 after pre-filing. Does the 20 include the 6? The 6 after pre-file. So it's 26.
So it's 26, that's even
Right.
more. It's over 1,000 with 40 senators.
Okay. Okay, any further discussion?
Let me make sure I understand that. The number 3 says only 20 bills may be introduced, only 6 may be introduced after pre-filing. So that's 26, 6 aren't part of the 20?
Right. So it's 26 bills.
20 you can introduce before.
And then 6
and then
after
6
pre-filing.
after.
Okay.
That's not the way this reads.
Well, we've written it several ways and no one ever understands it before we get it.
So it's 26 bills total.
Let's vote.
Okay. So,
Madam-
yes,
Madam Chair,
Senator
not to quibble, but I can understand if we limited it to 30 total or some total number, but if you're only going to, or 26, but if you have 26 bills, it would seem to me that you might want more than 30 drafting requests. I support limiting the drafting requests, but it just seems like a high ratio that you might have more than 4 bills drafted if you're drafting that many that you don't want to introduce. It's just a thought.
You got 30 to request.
Madam Chair, I offer an amendment that we move the drafting requests perhaps up to 35
That's option number 2.
Option number, yep,
So our substitute motion is to adopt option 2.
option 2, that's correct.
I don't hear a second to that motion. Second. Okay, the substitute motion is to adopt option number 2. Is there any discussion on that motion? Okay.
Madam Chair, I made the motion because it's now become clear that we're really talking about this 26, because these 6 after the pre-filing are added. They're not included in the only 20. So just my experience in drafting is sometimes I'd put in a bill that, the idea isn't quite right, and I would put in a subsequent request. So I just want to make sure that we have the bandwidth to actually put in 26 bills. And to have that bandwidth, I think you need a little cushion for the drafting. So that's why my suggestion is 35 drafting requests.
Okay, all those in favor of option number 2, please indicate on electronically. Ayes are 10, noes are 4. We've adopted option number 2 for the bill limits.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Senator Evans.
Just a suggestion, when we communicate this to the members, we may want to reword this so it says something like, the spirit of what we just passed, but after it says only 20 bills may be introduced, it should say something like up to 6 additional bills may be introduced after pre-filing, just to clarify that it's not part of the 20.
Or that only 20 bills may be introduced during the pre-file period.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any other business to come before the committee? Do we have to do that here? Do we do that here? We have one other item. Okay, Senator Howell has requested that Senator Barker become co-chair of Finance and Appropriations. As a result of that request, Senator Barker can no longer chair General Laws and Technology, which moves Senator Eben to chair General Laws and Technology, which means that he no longer chairs Privileges and Elections, which moves Senator Spruill to Privileges and Elections. And given that rules can only have 17 members and all chairs must serve on rules, that moves Senator Spruill to rules. And thank you so very much, Senator McPike, for agreeing to give up your seat here. We thank you so very much. And so this is the report. coming for changes on Senate standing committees. So I would ask that you adopt this report.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt the Senate Standing Rules Committee's report as presented to you. Are there any questions? Is this voting, electronic voting? Okay. All in favor, please vote electronically. Ayes 14, no 0. The report is adopted. Thank you. Any other business for the committee? Not. Thank you very much. We're done.